Hi everyone, welcome back to Katamita. I'm Yusef.
And I'm Zubi.
Today, we're just going to be mixing it up a bit. We're just going to be talking about some recent or upcoming happenings in our lives and just chat. My sister and I haven't seen each other in probably 3 weeks. Yeah. I went on a little trip out of the country and then came back and just immediately jumped back into work. And so we haven't really gotten a chance to sit and talk in a while or even just see each other.
Yeah.
So this is very nice. Nice to see you, sister.
Yeah. We are catching up live on a podcast.
Yep, just catch it up. That's what we're here to do. So, one thing I want to talk about, actually before the trip, I kind of wanted to talk about it and like record a little thingy, but everything was still kind of up in the air and I was busy packing and all that.
Should I be scared?
No, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's subjective, but so before going on the trip, signed up to perform in a drag show. And I didn't think I was actually going to get in because I have zero actual drag experience. And besides just like doing my own makeup for fun and all that. And these crazies actually picked me to be part of the show, which I found out like basically when I got back from the trip. And so that was crazy because I was like, oh, I just got back. I'm ready to like relax and like chill and whatever. And then I saw the email and I was like, oh God, now I'm so stressed and I'm so nervous and I'm so worried because now it's real. And I'm I don't really know how I feel about it. I'm very excited, but I'm also very, very nervous and scared. But I wanted to bring it up on the podcast because I just wanted to get a reaction out of you and see what you think and what your thoughts are.
Oh, are you sure you want to know?
I do. I do want to know, even if it's not the most supportive thing. Yeah, I still want to know what you think, and that's why I wanted to do it on the podcast.
You know what, though? It's good, because this is what it's about. It's like just being real, and the fact that like we are very different people, we're different generations, we come from like almost like same parents, but a different upbringing, and yeah, like when you said it, first of all, I didn't know what you were going to say, and so I was like already a little trepidation because I'm like, oh my God, my anxiety. And then
I just want to say I've been like wanting to tell you about this for forever. Well, not for obviously found out like a couple weeks ago, but I was like, oh my God, like I can't wait to tell Zubi. Like obviously I was a little nervous to tell you. Like
I was like, really? You were saying I can't wait to tell this?
Because
okay, how about this?
Yeah.
What did you or do you expect my reaction to be?
Actually in my head I expected you to just go, oh, which is what you just did a minute ago. Did. Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty much what I was expecting.
Okay. What do you think about, like, what do you think I'm thinking, or what do you think I'm feeling, or because honestly I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
I think you're figuring it out. I think you probably have some trepidation about it because I know how you think, and I know how mommy thinks or thought, and I know that when it comes to y'all, it's always just like first and foremost like my safety. Like if I put myself out there in this way, am I ready for everything that can come with it? Which I do think I am, because I mean I've just always been a little, rainbow creature, and I'm pretty used to the
what will people think and the backlash of it.
Yeah, like you kind of get older and get used to not caring,
Well, I think that's a personality thing, but yeah,
sure, yeah. And then what else do I think you're thinking? I think you're probably just a little hesitant about all the gender bending and that aspect of it. But I don't know, like I wasn't really like expecting
me to be like, yay!
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I wasn't expecting fanfare, but I also just figured like this is a good chance to talk, like talk about where we're at in life and, our interests and passions and goals. Like,
Yeah.
ultimately for me, like,
Like,
I've.
what does it mean for you and
Mm-hmm.
like why? So it's funny because one of the things I was just thinking about, like when you first said it, was like I wanted to ask you what was your sort of intention or reason behind applying and
Mm-hmm.
wanting to do it?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I mean, to be honest, the very, very real answer is that, my friend, who I kind of consider like my drag dad, even though I've never done drag, he came out to my birthday party. And so,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know.
yes. And
Yes.
so
Okay.
he literally just out of the blue just, texted me and said, apply for this. Like, no other words, just apply for this and a
Okay.
link. And I clicked it and I was like, oh God, like it was a pretty like involved looking application and they wanted like pictures and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh gee. So I texted him back and my first thought was just to like not even respond and be like, oh, I missed the deadline. Sorry, I can't
Yeah.
apply. But I was like, you know what? Like, this guy is like looking out for me and really just wants to get me out there because I always talk about, wanting to put myself out there. And
So when you
so,
say put yourself out there, what do you mean by that
like, in
specifically?
terms of like my art and my like just performing and stuff
So
like
you
that.
see it as an artistic performance,
Yes.
and I'm not questioning. I'm asking.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So that's kind of what I was getting at. Is like, how do
Mm-hmm.
you view this as like as an opportunity, but for what exactly? And so when
Mm-hmm.
you say putting yourself out there as an artist
Mm-hmm.
and expressing yourself creatively, but also performance wise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you know
Yeah.
Yusef and you've ever seen him do karaoke, he is a performer.
Yeah, or if you saw me in musicals or in choir or God
Yeah.
knows what else I've
Okay.
performed in.
Yeah. So you see this kind of as like a performance, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I see why you would. Of course, like any performance anybody does, that's nerve wracking,
Uh-huh.
because you're auditioning, so to speak. Now, did you have to audition for this?
So I did an application basically.
Okay.
And
And did you have to
so
send a video for that?
I didn't send a video. They did want me to like upload pictures, which I again like this would be my first time like officially doing drag, so I didn't really have pictures. What I did submit were pictures from Halloween when I dressed up as Nicki
Oh.
Minaj.
Okay. Well, I mean that was pretty
But
much.
it was a start,
Yeah.
It's not, the fishiest, draggiest look ever, but it was, cute or whatever. At least I tried to pick the cutest pictures to submit.
Okay.
And it was kind of just like one of the questions was like, why should we pick you or something like that? And I was like,
Because you have no large brown men,
oh, I
probably.
literally said, I literally put in there, I'm not sure why you would pick me out of all the applicants. I have zero drag experience. But my drag father is encouraging me to do this, and I just want to try it and see
For
what
those who don't
happens.
know, what's a drag father?
Sure. So like in
Or drag mother is usually what's
yeah.
known, but
So like in drag culture, usually like when you're getting into the scene or before you get on the scene and you meet someone, it's usually like a queen or a drag king. In my case, it's a drag king.
it's a
And
mentor.
exactly. It's a mentor. It's someone that kind of shows you the ropes. They can probably get you in touch with people or resources in terms of, wigs and clothing and shoes and all that. Because that can be hard to come by, especially as for me, like a large brown man, like it is hard to find a pump in my size.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
and so it's kind of like that, showing me the ropes. In my case, he's definitely going the extra mile and pushing me to apply for shows and, putting me out there in that sense, which I appreciate that level of just like pure encouragement. Because I have been thinking about trying drag for a while and just like never pushed myself to do it,
What
which
about like why drag versus any other type of performance venue?
I don't think for me honestly I think it doesn't have to be one or the other. Like I think it can be both, and I like this opportunity just stumbled to me basically first, and I was like, you know what, put your money where your mouth is. You always talk about wanting to try these things, do these things, do it, get as Nicki Minaj would say, get up on your good foot and just do it, and so it's really a test for myself. It's really a just an opportunity to see if I can rise up and meet the challenge. And of course, nobody's first time in drag is amazing, or
Yeah.
they don't look amazing the first
Right.
time they're in drag or anything like that. But it's a goal, and I just want to see what I can do, see what I can come up with.
It's a goal for you to what?
Look good in drag the first time I do it, to perform well the first time I do drag.
And why is it a goal?
Because I want to know I can do it. I want to know that like that this thing I see other people doing, on YouTube and on Drag Race and all these other forms of entertainment, that I could do it too, and especially because I love it. I love making the music. I love singing and dancing, obviously, and even though I don't do drag, I do love makeup. I love putting makeup on. My nails are always painted. And so, like, I do already have some of that, like, level of femininity that I rock on a daily, but it would be nice to kind of test out going off the deep end in a way, and really just trying out this art form that's been so important to queer culture for so long, and that it would be kind of an honor to be part of it in a weird way, to say that I did this and I've connected with the community in this way, and just have it on my resume, I guess, or maybe not my official resume, but
Well, that's, I guess,
my
going
artist
back
resume.
Yeah, right. Well, that's true. Like, back to, a portfolio, like almost like an artist portfolio type thing. But when you said resume, you're right. And like, what do you think I would be thinking? And, I'm always thinking, like, even with this podcast, I'm always like hesitant and scared of like how real and authentic do I want to be, because how can it come back and
Bite you in the butt.
Yeah, how can it come back and like hurt me? Because we're the generation I grew up in is like you have to present a certain way, and professionalism is a certain way, and shield people from a lot of stuff, including your personal life, and a lot of things are looked at negatively. So we were always taught, like, be really careful what you post online, and the pictures you post, and even I think it was in school they taught us, don't ever get a picture taken of you holding a cup,
a red Solo cup,
or
right?
Because you don't know what's inside of it. So like these are the things that I was taught, and it's just. So I know I've talked to you a lot about that. I'm like, be really careful what you post online, especially when you're, know that you're going to be looking for a, quote, professional job. And, because we do have professional degrees.
Absolutely,
doctorate degrees. And so it is a different culture than, like, somebody who may not, and what that looks like. And so, yeah, if I'm being honest, like, I do always worry about, like, I can't help it. It is so ingrained in me to be like, what are people going to think, and how is it going to negatively affect you, and what is the backlash going to be? And then I know for me, people are always going to come out to me and be like, why are you letting Yusef do it? Why as if I can control any of my little brothers, or even sometimes my own children. But, there is a lot of that, like, maternal thing that I have and still have, and other people put on me, I put on myself, etc. And so, yeah, I'm always going to be like, what would our parents think? Because I am the firstborn child, and I basically think the way they think because of that. So,
for sure.
But I would agree that the majority of that concern stems from what the backlash would look like. And then you have to think it through, like, well, is it really damaging or not? And I don't know. But that's the part of taking a risk in anything in life.
Yeah.
And now, as I've gotten older, I'm in a new phase of my life where the question of taking risks and what does that look like, and what does the backlash or consequence of those risks look like, for the first time I think I'm actually questioning it all, because I've lived my whole life just going by the book, doing exactly what's expected of me, and checking off the things, just doing everything the, quote, right way. But I think a lot of women come to this point where they reassess that, often when you turn 40. But
what, you feel like you did everything the right way, and like
things didn't turn out
what
exactly.
has it gotten you, kind of thing?
I mean, no, I didn't really think of it that way, but yes, I guess in a way. But also, I think anytime things happen in life, you have to reevaluate. So, like, I've said this before, we've all gone through this giant pandemic so we all, as a collective human unit,
Yeah.
had to reevaluate because we saw so much,
Right.
such dramatic life change. Losing my mom, who was the relationship her and I had, it is a unique, everybody had their own special unique relationship with her, and so just like that, my relationship with her was a very special unique relationship in its own way, and that was huge. It is huge. So there's no way I can't reevaluate and look at my life after something like that.
Of course. It's funny you mentioned that, because I remember one of the conversations I had with someone after mommy had passed, and it was kind of weird because I wasn't sure how to feel, but basically what the person had said was, like, obviously this is a huge traumatic loss, but I do see it propelling you into, like, the next version of yourself, which I do think now, like, in hindsight.
Somebody said that to you, mean? Oh, yeah. Post-traumatic growth.
Of course, which I think
is
exactly.
What they were referring to.
Exactly. And then another thing they had said, though, was you might not think or see it this way, especially because my mom and I were, like, really getting to a good place in our relationship, especially in terms of, like, my identity and stuff like that, is that maybe now that you don't have parents, like, you will feel a lot more free to just live your life. Exactly. And not worry about that backlash and worry about that stuff. And it kind of takes me back to
and there's two sides of that coin. Like, do you want, I don't want, I feel
no,
like
go
I'm
ahead.
interrupting you, but like, on the two sides of that coin, I would say your parents are there to provide boundaries and rules and regulations and policies and procedures, that starts at that young child age, because, they are the people that are going to love you the most and care for you the most and want the best for you. Hopefully, if you have good, normal, toxic,
parents.
like non-toxic parents, like we did. And so there is that in place. And so, yes, they are going to put restrictions on you because they are going to tell you, like, what they know and what they think is best. And then when you don't have that or even as a child, if you don't have that, you can do whatever you want. You have that quote freedom. But is that freedom? That is the freedom to make good choices, but it's the freedom to make bad choices.
For sure.
And you don't have that guidance there. You don't have the people who love you the most and care about you the most, who truly want what's best for you there. And so I see it as two different things. And so, like, while some people, it's almost like, the shackles have been taken off of you. And those shackles are, so many things are shackles. Marriage can be shackles. It can be amazing. Parents can be shackles. They can be amazing. Jobs, society, culture, religion, all of it. So it's like, I think of it as like there's two sides of that coin.
Give and take, yeah.
But we have norms and, it's like morals and ethics, like all of that and that general sort of things can all be looked at as shackles or chains, but also there's like the good part of that too. Like, why do we have some laws?
I definitely
not to say like, I'm not trying to, but anyways, just to the point of like, I get that whole freedom thing, and I will say, like, I felt that in a way too, because I was like, everything in my life, I think, like, what would mommy think, or what would mommy and daddy think?
Exactly. It really took me aback when they had said that to me, because I was like, is that supposed to make me feel better? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, are you like, because what I kind of like, obviously this was just my emotion brain at the time, or my not even my brain, just my emotions at the time. But I kind of took it as like, oh, like my mom had to die so that I can grow and become who I want to be. Like, I felt like that, like
it was too early to hear that. I get why somebody would say that, and I don't think it's a bad thing to say at all. Probably just a little too early. That's something you have to wait till you kind of get to another place before you can really internalize that. But it sounds like now you are in a little bit more in that place where you can like see and hear that in that way,
Yeah.
that it was, I think, well intentioned for sure.
Yeah, especially because like this sounds crazy, and maybe it is, but like I've talked to like a psychic or whatever, and
Yeah.
like I do find some comfort in the belief, that maybe once we transition to the other side of life, that our understanding of things and our acceptance of things and how we view the universe and the people in it changes. And so I do kind of try to find some peace in the idea that maybe on the other side, our parents just have a completely different perspective, and it's like more about our happiness and more about,
Yeah.
our health and our success and all
Yeah.
that.
Not like
And not just like, oh, he's doing drag, you know?
Yeah.
And so,
It's true because, like, I'll again just being very blatantly honest. The first thing is like the first thing I think of, because I was brainwashed to think this way, is what would mommy and daddy think? And honestly, I lived my life that way. Which is going to sound blasphemous, instead of saying like, what would God want you to do? I honestly was like, what would my mom want me to do? But my mom was a godly woman. And so I feel like, again, I'm not equating her to God, but like, I know that, her morals and ethics would be in line with what, quote, God, and religion and what we were taught would be. So I don't feel like there was a disconnect there. But, yeah, I lived my life that way, very much so. And I mean, that prevented me from doing a lot of, things like that I wasn't supposed to do.
For sure.
Like, anything that, like, I'm a very good girl. I was a very, very good girl. Like, honestly,
hey, listen,
like,
I get it. I mean,
it's just, now that I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, I like did everything that I, was supposed to do, and didn't do anything I wasn't supposed to do. And so, of course, like, naturally my brain goes to like, what would mommy and daddy think? And like, yeah, like if they were here on this earth, they would not be supportive of it. They would not want you to do it. And then the next thing I think is, okay, but like, what would they think now? I agree with you. I think when you've passed on, I think it becomes a bigger picture and more of a like big picture thought that like, peace and love and like just not getting into nitty gritty and sort of almost petty type of thinking about things. I think that goes away, But secondly, I think, how would it reflect on our parents? And in that sense of like, what would people be like, oh, this and this. So going back to like, what would people think? And yeah, I still care about that. Although I will say, I think it's going away a little bit. Like, I will say that, like, the whole, oh my gosh, what will people think? What will all the people we grew up with think? What will the people, say and think? And all of that used to be just so, that societal pressure that kept me in line. Again, I think it can be good. And I think it has its place for sure.
Yeah.
But I do feel like my caring about what people will think is diminishing a little bit. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I think a lot of women that as you grow, I think that happens more and more to us as we get into our 40s and 50s, and we're like, wow, like, gosh, really, we care a lot about what people think.
Yeah.
And we're trying to always make everybody happy. And my God, if you're a firstborn daughter, forget about it. Like, you have no chance. That that is assigned to you, that you have to meet everybody's expectations and do everything perfect. And care what people think. And
Yeah, especially a first-born daughter of immigrants.
yeah, it's just, I'm so typical in
Yeah.
that way. It's not like I'm special. Like, I'm basic, like any other female in my position knows what I'm talking about. So yeah, my brain is very much like that way, but
Yeah,
I do
definitely.
feel like I'm changing. And so, like, while if you had told me this like 10 years ago, I would have probably lost my what on you. I probably would have been like, what? Oh my God, no way. That's disgusting. That's terrible. Mommy and daddy are going to be like, oh my God. And,
that's part of the reason
had a more dramatic reaction. But
and that's part of the reason I wanted to have this conversation on the podcast, is because it's like, I know that we've both grown and changed in many, many ways. And I'm just kind of curious to see how this would go, to be honest. I'm like, if it went totally left, then I'd be like, all right, let's just delete this shit and move on. But like,
well, I mean, the thing is, like, I still struggle with a lot of it, though. You know that.
I do know that, which is also
and
why...
I know that, like, some people will be like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. And like, oh my gosh, we should be woke. And
the only reason the reason I don't
But-
see it as terrible is because I know how you were raised, and I know how,
like, you can understand why I would think the way I think, because this is just like this is the way it's fact. You're raised with certain facts of life, and then when that gets challenged, you have to really figure that out. And so, for example, facts of life for me growing up were men marry women, and men are men and women are women. And then as you get older, you find out that, or that's what's supposed to be, and that's what is right. Let me say that, because like, historically there's always been homosexuality and whatnot, but the judgment of what's right and wrong, right? So we were taught like what is right and what is wrong, and then also this and that. But we know gender is fluid, and we know that attraction can be fluid too, but there's always been homosexuality. But yeah, I was very much raised with the fact that it is wrong, it is a sin, and then also like, and that's again to say, like, that's totally different than drag too. So I don't want to equate the two, because they're not the same.
Yeah. And I also feel like the reason I feel safe to like still have these conversations with you is because I feel that even if you don't throw your full support behind something, I do feel as though, like, if somebody was talking about me behind my back, and you heard it, you would still defend me,
100%. I was a mama bear before I was a mama, because I had 2 little brothers. So like, it's always going to be like, at the end of the day, you and Asif,
right?
Like, at the end of the day, I'm always going to like fight for you in the sense. I mean,
exactly.
Unless they're like straight up wrong, then I'm going to be like, you're an idiot.
Right. Which we would deserve,
Which both of you have been on the receiving end of that. So, I mean, I'm not lying.
Of
but
course.
Again, it comes from that, like, paternal, maternal, like, a place of, like, I want what's truly best for you, and this is what I think is what's best for you.
And that's what I'm saying is, I look past a lot of that, like, that slight bit of tension, because I know that we are family, and we're not just like family. Like, you're gonna,
I'm still gonna love you no matter.
Yeah, you're gonna love me, and
like,
you're
there's
gonna,
no way I can't.
And you're gonna go
you.
hard for me. Like, if somebody, were to, say all those things that you internalize, or like that you worry about, if someone started saying that stuff or talking,
I'm gonna tell them to mind their own business and worry about their own life. Yeah, which I'm saying right now. Mind your own business and worry about your own life. Fix yourself before you start pointing fingers at other people.
Period.
Okay? Because I have to do that to myself. Every time I look at somebody else and I want to make judgments, I'm like, look in the mirror, girl. Look in the mirror, fix your own stuff, fix your own kids, then talk about somebody else. And I tell myself that all the time, because that's what it's about, right? Like, yes, I want to make... I am a very judgmental person, and I will make judgments, like 100%. I am not immune to that. And sometimes I voice them, and sometimes I don't. But I do feel like with you and Asif, I have a right to voice those opinions, because I'm your big sister.
Yeah.
obviously you guys never listen to me, but like I do feel like I have a little bit of a right to just say those things. Most people I won't, because it's like, who am I?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Who cares what I think? But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately at the end of the day, like, I'm always gonna love you no matter what. But yeah, I do have some conflicting things in the sense of like, okay, I have my 2 little boys, and I think how much do I want to expose them to stuff like that, and if they saw you, like dressed up, like what would I say to them? And I don't know, if I, like, if I'm being like really honest here, that like I don't know how do you, like, what do I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what brainwashing I want to do. Let me say it that way.
Yeah.
Let me say it that way. Let me be real. I don't know what brainwashing I want to do on them.
Well, I will. So 2 things. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is another reason I was really keen on just trying this out and just doing it, experimenting with it, is because it's also, I feel like it would go really well with one of the passions I already have in love, which is making music. And so, like, I took this as an opportunity not just to, like, go and lip sync, which obviously every queen does that. You're totally fine and talented and amazing. But I was like, okay, how can I make this unique and special to me? And so upon finding out
the artistic aspect
and
of
upon finding out that I actually got in the show, first thing I did was wrote a verse, and I have already recorded my thing that I'm gonna do, like my little remix that I'm gonna perform.
Oh, I want to hear that.
Yeah, I will definitely show it to you. Yeah. And so, like, it was that, it's not just the drag.
It's the creation. It's the artistic, and it's the performance. So I get that. And I have told you this, but I think, like, especially when it comes to, like, your rapping and your writing verses, you're really talented at that.
Well, thank
and
you.
It's something, that I think you have a real talent and skill and unique ability in that. And I'm glad to see that this is going to provide you an opportunity to showcase that.
Thank you.
That's something I definitely, like, wholeheartedly support, because I think it's a worthwhile investment of your time.
Yeah, and it also does bring a different creative spin. Yeah, for sure.
Most importantly.
And I think like the drag of it all does kind of give it a spin that I haven't had the avenue to explore before. It's like a character, it's like a new character that you're speaking through.
Like an alter ego.
Yeah. And
I will say the other thought process I had, because I'm me, is like, how much is this going to cost?
I'm thinking about that currently.
And I was like, that's the other thing that I know.
That.
Like, I would say, and even Mommy would say, be like, why is you putting so much money into this? That's not worthwhile.
Well, fortunately, I already have a crap ton of makeup. And
we know somebody who sews really well.
Yes, exactly. Whose house I've been trying to get to for the past couple of days. We actually might go, like, to a fabric store tomorrow just to brainstorm and, like, think of ideas.
Okay.
I definitely still have to order, like, padding and, like, probably a pair of shoes.
Am I becoming a dance sister? Is that what's happening?
Oh, I wasn't really planning on doing, like, a whole choreographed thing. I was kind of just gonna, like, lip sync and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, all that stuff, the choreo, the all the stuff that goes into drag. It is a lot. It's definitely an investment.
It will definitely take a lot of your time and energy, and it's a project. And I get that. Like, creative project aspect of it, and then having a finished product.
Yeah,
and there is a lot of satisfaction in that, when you can pull that off. So I get that. I get that, like, having it be a goal and, planning it out, doing it, executing it to completion, and I get that. And I think it's good. I would prefer your goal to be something else, which I have told you what I want.
Yeah. Well, not that I'm not thinking about that,
so
too.
That would be my preferred goal, is for you to get licensures and things so you can make buku money or make buku money and help people.
Yeah.
That would be my goal.
Which
But
I will say, like, I have been doing more research on that.
really?
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
if
Are you going to get my hopes up?
yeah, if anybody doesn't know, we're referring to taking the bar exam again, and I
Yes.
have been doing a little more
You've never taken it
research.
in this state.
I haven't, and I've just been trying to see, like look up, especially on like Reddit and not like other
Official,
websites.
yeah.
Yeah, like I'm trying to see like what people think about the North Carolina bar as it compares to other states,
Yeah,
or
for sure.
I've started looking up like, okay, if I do decide to take it again, like what study tools am I going to use this time around, or what, what's going to
Oh,
work.
I'm so happy hearing this.
But
No, no, but.
like the drag, like this whole drag thing, signing up for the show, all that, like this is an experiment,
Return on investment.
I'm
What?
willing to try it and see if it's something that I really enjoy doing, or if it's maybe not for me, like at the end
You
of the
know what
day,
is always for me?
I just
Making $350 an hour.
yeah,
Who is
well,
that not for?
yeah. Well, you already know, but and
But listen, I have to,
but I will say, but like this drag show, I'm doing the research, I'm looking into it, I'm
yes.
considering it, but it's
Okay.
not like
I
I'm just
am happy to hear that you're considering
yeah,
it.
I'm just not fully committed one way or another, which is how I feel about this too. Like
Okay.
I'm doing this to see if I like it. I'm doing this to see if it's
Yeah.
something I could see a passion in, or
Yeah.
or maybe it's not for me. Maybe I'm gonna get dress up and put the wig on, and I'll be like, oh, I'm hot, I'm sweaty, I don't want to do this.
Very true.
So
Yeah, yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see. We'll see. But yeah, both things
Oh my gosh,
are.
I'm gonna send you so many text messages. Okay, I'm so excited.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I know. Well, I didn't want to overwhelm you, and so I was like, I don't know how he feels. I'm just gonna like talk to him about it, about the whole bar exam thing. But it's no secret. I want you to do that and take
Yeah.
it and pass it, and because to me, I feel like there's no negative to it, right? Like you could seriously help people, like for sure, and or you could make gobs of money doing important things that have to be done no matter what. And so, or again, like you have more control over a lot of things, like how much you want to work and work remotely. And I mean, I just feel like it's such a worthwhile return on your investment.
Yeah.
In so many ways, that is in a very practical, logistical way.
Yeah, and I'll say like I even brought it up at work that like, I noticed we don't really have a legal counsel here,
Yeah, a compliance
and
officer.
exactly. We are missing, what I would consider to be some key positions in this size of a nonprofit, and so I mentioned that. I said,
officer.
yes, I said like, like I'm again, no commitment yet, but I'm considering taking the North Carolina bar, and I'm curious to know, if we have a legal counsel, or do we use an outside law firm or something like that, or is this an opportunity for me to propose adding this sort of position in our structure?
But also, isn't it possible for you to be like a contract officer or compliance officer without being barred?
Compliance, yeah. It's hard to do, but
Yeah. So
but
I mean,
yeah.
anyways, there's options.
Yeah.
I love that you have been proactive and talked to your job about that. I'm so proud of you for doing that.
Thank you.
I will take a little bit of credit for that because I've tried to push you to do that.
Well, no, real talk. Like you and Asif both like brought it up to me,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, God dang.
It's because
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I was like,
it comes like legit real care.
Which is
also,
why
because I've been having to talk to lawyers recently and seeing how much they cost. I'm like, oh my God, if only I had a lawyer in the family. No, just kidding.
Yeah. No, but
No.
you guys are the reason I'm so reluctantly looking into it and considering it. But again,
Also, the
don't
fact
get too
that,
excited.
No, stop.
I'm just saying.
Don't self-deprecate. Don't be, just it's. I'm really, really, really glad to hear this, that you are like even considering it, because again, it's just like my brain is just like check mark, let's get these things done. Let's make sure we're safe and secure, because one of my high like values, or I guess it's like this, I don't know if anybody's ever heard about this, is values card exercise, where you like look at all these different things and you choose the top like 3 to 5 that are important to you. And like safety and security are so important to me. And especially like financial safety and stability is like huge for me. Not to say that that's right or wrong, it's just it is. And so like I always look at the lens of that to be like, how do I know that my brothers are going to be safe and secure?
Yeah.
And how are they going to be safe and secure financially? And anything that disrupts that, threatens that, or gets in the way of that, you know, I'm always going to push you guys towards that, because that is important to me.
Right. Well, we'll keep you posted on how the rest of summer goes.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for being patient. I know everybody's just sitting there waiting for our next episode because we're so popular.
Oh gosh, drag us. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we will let you know how the drag show goes.
When is it, by the way?
Oh, it's on June 28th for anybody.
Oh my God, that's soon.
It's very soon. That's why I'm freaking out.
Oh, you should be.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, at least I got my song
Wait a
done.
second. 28th. Jeez Louise. Okay.
I know. Yeah.
All right.
I know. I'm excited. I'm nervous.
We can do this.
We got this. Oh, see, you said we.
We can do it. We'll make it happen.
This is,
your goal is my goal.
See, I love this. Okay.
And then we'll study for the bar exam.
Okay. Well, yeah.
You study for your North Carolina bar. I'll study for my North Carolina law.
All right. That sounds like
we'll
a plan.
Do it.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you for listening. Bye.
Kisses, kisses.
Mwah.